Hey there. Wow, it looks different. The screen looks bigger. Anyway, you know, an interesting thing about doing this now in the era of COVID is that it feels less conspicuous. I remember when I used to do this in Japan, vlogging, I felt like you're drawing attention to yourself, very self-conscious, but more so here. And I've never really explored why that is, but it is. Maybe it's because people here understand what I'm saying better than they did in Japan. But whatever the reason, it's truly the case. But I think I'm going to be making these vlogs, which have turned out to be pretty fun. I think I'm going to begin making them every other day. The timing seems just the right amount. It's just enough time to let the previous vlog kind of sink in terms of the viewers, and then also in terms of my ability to respond to comments, and then allows me to cogitate a little bit about what I might talk about next. And what's I'm beginning to notice happening is that the topics, hello Simku, welcome. The topics seem to pick up from the previous videos. People leave questions, and I answer those questions. Hello Evolving Blessed, nice to see you. What a lovely name. So today I'm going to answer a question that was asked in a previous one of the videos. Particularly it was the video I did on Sunday where I was doing my driving school thing. I had my red shirt on, and it says, safety first driving school. And someone asked what I do for a living. And so I think I've hinted at it a little bit. You're very welcome, Evolving Blessing. But I don't think I've actually explained it. So since coming back to America, let me explain what my job was when I came and what it is now, because it's changed a couple of times. So it kind of goes back years before I went to Japan, back to the 90s when I, kind of fate kind of led me into technology. Had no interest in technology in college or anything. I never thought I would be in IT. Heck, I couldn't even spell IT. But I wound up first as a support guy, and then as a trainer, and then as a training course developer. And that's what I was when I finally left America and went to Japan and gave all that up. And in Japan, of course, I had my own business. First I took about 6 months off and just studied Japanese and didn't do too well. I got past the first level exam. I was able to pass that exam, but I've never done too well. But after that 6 months was up, I decided to start my own business. Remember, I was flush with money then from the dot-com era. So I started an antique business and spent about 3 or 4 years at that. Ultimately failed at it. Failed, colossal flop. I mean, talk about, there's a video out there on, I think it's on the Lyles Brother channel, how I lost $1 million. Hello, where's Emily? Emily's in the apartment right now. I think she's sitting on the bed. She's taking up my part of the bed. She's staying the night. We're going to go out, the family and I, we're going to go out to Julian tomorrow for some apple pie and apple cider and take the dogs out. So she's here visiting. So after failing colossally and losing absolutely everything and going into debt, after the collapse, the economic collapse of 2007, 2008, 2007-ish, I wound up as an English teacher, which I never really liked very much. It has its moments, but it was always a kind of a taxing job. I know some people like it, but I'm not sure exactly what it was. Daniel says, let her know that chat said hello. I'm back to listening. Oh, okay. K, I'm back to listening. Get it. I'll tell her that. Does she know you? Do you know her? Teaching is not easy. No, it isn't. It isn't easy. Although there are days that I kind of wish I could go back to it, like today. So I'll get to that. You gotta watch what you wish for sometimes, right? So when I first started, I never really conspired to come back to the United States. Fate just, again, I use that word for the second time, even though I don't think there is such a thing. Although I also don't believe in free will. So what else is there but fate, determinism? Actually, technically speaking, I'm a compatibilist, but I don't believe in free will. I have no other choice, as Christopher Hitchens would say. Save that for another video. Although Emily just did a great a piece of art. You know, she's making art for the book Going Alone, and I commissioned her. I pay her for all these things, right? So I commissioned her to do this work, and I didn't pay her initially. She did it of her own volition, but I liked it so much that I wanted to pay her. I wanted to compensate her for it, so I do pay her for every bit of art. And she made one that's really nice that I just got. She's finishing up one little thing, and it's going to probably be the last image in the book, and it's an image of a boy and a bus, school bus, like 4 or 5 seats back, and there's no driver, yet the bus is hurtling through a landscape with no driver. And that image captures my conception of our lives without free will, where we're like a boy on a bus hurtling through, with the engine rolling and pushing us through the universe, and the bus is heaving this way and that and going to the up and to the down based on all the forces of nature around us. Well, meanwhile, we seem to have some sense that we have willful control, but we really don't. Emily did something interesting. She removed the desert landscape that I had asked for and replaced it with an open ocean, which I thought was interesting because it gave kind of a sense of the motion, because otherwise just with the landscape, it looks like the bus is sitting still. She needed some sense of motion. So she really captured this. Every time I ask her to make a piece of art, I sit down and I talk to her about the concept and then set her free to do her thing. And also the frame. Every piece of art has a frame. We talk about the frame. The frame she put on there now is a bus window. Sinku says, I've been doing some research on John Calvin's belief in predestination, free will. Very, very interesting topic. It is. It's a funny thing, Simku. It's the closest I think I've come since, giving up my religious belief to having a position of faith. It's just something I just sense is true, that we don't have free will, although I can't prove it. Although I like to frame it in this particular way. I like to say that we're free to make any choice we want, only the choices that we make are the only ones we could have made. It's a strange thing, where there's some kind of freedom in there, yet in the end, we make the choices that we do. But I digress. So in Japan, I spent, a dozen, 13 years there, 3, 4, 5 as an antique dealer, 6 months as a suffering under the great weight of failure. I really, that period broke me. I wasn't making videos, I don't think, at that point. Oh, yes, I was. Yes, I was. I was making videos. I wonder if it'd be interesting to look through the videos and see if I could pick up on that. It'd be interesting to see what the character of my videos were. 'Cause I was a broken man back then. Failure can do that. Well, anyway, became an English teacher. It was a tough time. I literally got on my bicycle because I was down to nothing, and 30, 60 days away from my family and I having a place to live. Got on that little, I don't know if I had the Mama Cherry, the softypapa's bicycle, or the other bike. Was it JET program? No, I didn't get it. I applied to the JET program in the early 90s and was rejected. They didn't want me. No, I did as opposite of the JET program as possible. I literally got on a bicycle and I pedaled my ass all over Shizuoka, going to every single English school I could, opening the door, walking in, dressed in my best that I possibly have, finding someone to talk to and say, I had a little resume. Here's my resume. I would like to work for you. I would have taken anything at that point. Any McAwa job, and I did. That's what I wound up with. Was a McAwa, as they call it, right? The bare bones minimum wage English teaching job. I did that. I worked for, and I'm very grateful for the gentleman that gave me the job, even though he and I didn't see eye to eye on things. I'm very grateful to him for that. That was a tough time of my life. That was about a 9-month, maybe almost a year of just, because I'd been a millionaire, right? Had been on top of the world, had everything I wanted. And now I was reduced to barely getting my family by. Singing, riding my bike, because the school was a long ways away in Shimizu, and long ways away through the rain and the cold and the dark, to barely make anything. Anyway, one job led to another, and I wound up finally with a really, really good job, one of those sweet, sweet jobs that you long for in Japan. That's how I met Mully, because he and I worked together at the same school. And again, very, very, very grateful to the principal of that school. One of the people that, if I could have like a little wall of gratitude in my life, I'd put his picture up there, because he's the one that gave me that job. And that's what I stick with until America I didn't really come looking for America. America kind of opened, an opportunity came up through my brother, who I had kind of mentioned to him on the phone a couple of times that, I might be interested in coming back, because I kind of had this idea that, taking Emily back. Daniel says, I want to buy your book, but I need you to sign it, please. If I get it in Amazon, would you be able to sign that copy? FYI, I insist on buying it. Let's see, I used to have a link that you could buy the book on the website and I would sign it, but I don't have that anymore. Thank you if you want to buy it. Can you send me an email, Daniel? dinnerbytheriver@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to talk to you about it. I'm happy to send you a free copy, but if you want to, we can work something out, and I do appreciate that. It means a lot to me. Whoops. And thank you, Daniel. It means a lot to me. Hello, Kurt. Thank you for making the interview video. I just applied technology tech job. Hopefully I can get it. Yes. Are you the one that asked me to make that video? You're Japanese. Are you little five? Is that you? Are you the one that asked? Because good for you. I hope you get it. I hope you get it. I hope you get the interview. It was you. Okay. Good. Thank you. I wanted to get that one up on there first. I think the person that asked me for this video did it first, but I was worried that you might have an interview coming up, so I had to get that video out for you. So, good. It wasn't just my imagination. So, back to the topic. I think I had mentioned to my brother that I you saw the interview vid too. Thank you, Daniel. I don't have any experience, so I hope I can get it. Just be yourself. Of course, it sounds cliche. Be yourself, be honest, be upfront. Try to find out where their pain points are. What is it that they're looking to fill that position for a reason. They have a pain point that they want to address. If you can learn what that pain point is before you go in, and sometimes you can intuit it from the position, then you're going to be in a much better place to do this. And I don't know how you are with communication. If communication is a challenge for you, I highly recommend vlogging, doing what I'm doing right now. Make a video every day or every other day or something like that for a long period of time. The language starts to flow. And Chico says, hi Kurt, thank you for coming back to vlogging. I truly miss your videos. This is a series of peace there's a sense of peace I experience when I see them. I've been following you for many years. Well, thank you very much, Chico. I really do appreciate your support. Good luck, little five. I hope I'm remembering your name right, your kanji. I kind of had mentioned to my brother that I might be interested in coming back, and I think it was for a couple of reasons. But the main reason was, well, one, my wife and I could just get tired of, the same old place. We like to mix it up. I think we're a bit tired of this, right? We're ready to something else. We've got another 2.5 years, and Emily will be out of college, and Yumiko and I will be completely free. And so we may be giving this up for something else, But my brother had made a friend with a manager and in public sector for the County of Riverside. And he said, Kurt, why don't you come on over and have a talk with her? So I got on an airplane by myself, flew over to America, and we went out for drinks. And we only spent less than 2 hours, an hour and a half together, sitting and talking. She's real powerful. Power is not the right word. Really competent woman, management, executive type. No nonsense, to the point. And I told her about my background, that I'd have more than a 10-year gap since I'd left technology, and what were my chances? And she told me my chances are basically none. I don't have what it takes. I'm too far gone. But she said, if you can do something to increase your portfolio, your resume, your skill set, then you might have a chance. And she told me specifically what I needed to do. So I flew back to Japan, and I did what she told me. It took me about, I think it was like 9 months to do it. I had to sign up for classes, do a lot of studying, and then take a proctored exam and got a certification, and a few other things. I had to basically, bring my skill set up to speed. So guess what I did next? Blaine says, "Hi Kurt, thank you for sharing about your experience in Shizuoka. I had no idea that there were such troubling times for you back then." Oh, yes. Oh, yes, yes. Maybe I'll make a video about it sometime. But I remember very distinctly, I'll never forget, laying in bed, staring up at the ceiling. You've heard me, if people have watched my videos for a long time, you may have heard me say this before. Staring up at the ceiling with my wife sleeping next to me and our daughter sleeping in her room. She was much younger then. And I knew that we had about enough money for another month and a half. We were going to run out of money. We were already in debt. I had already burned through, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Bad stock choices, bad business choices. Then the economic crash. Foolishly then went into debt trying to keep things afloat. So I was not only broke, but tens of thousands of dollars in debt. No job. I decided to close up my little business. Everything was gone. And what the hell am I going to do? And staying up, staring at the ceiling all night long, trying to think about it, and then getting up the next morning, putting on my best clothes, and getting on my bicycle and start riding around looking for schools and knocking on the door. You want to hire me? I used to live in Adachi-ku. Oh, no kidding. Cool. Well, anyway, I went back after I'd done all the skills, and I saw that same woman. I waited. Unreal, yes. I would love to hear a series about that. Okay, Blaine, I'll try to elaborate more on that. The pain points in life are sometimes the most interesting, dare I say, entertaining. I know that's not what you meant, but it is entertaining, and I don't think it's voyeurism necessarily. I think it eases our own suffering sometimes when we can relate to others who are suffering, sadly, or who have suffered and have made it through the other side. So there's value in that. Chico says, do you have any CompTIA certifications? And do folks in the IT field find them, really need them? I guess I don't have it because I don't even know what it is. CompTIA. So, sorry, never heard of that. The only certification I've got is ITIL certification. I've got Unix certification. I've got Microsoft certification. I don't have PMP certification simply because I don't plan to be in the industry that long. Sometimes I do. A little adversity can spur us on to better things. There are lessons in both life's lows and highs, indeed. So I came back, but I waited. I waited for that organization to float a position that I might qualify for. Because remember, when I come back, I had asked that woman about a particular type of job that I thought I was qualified. I could make myself qualified for. I wanted to be qualified for. So I waited for that to float, and I applied, and guess what? My resume got picked up. Now it's a big thing just to get your resume picked up because it has to get through the filters of the HR system computers and then into the hands of HR reps before it ends up in the hands of the managers and that will do the hiring. I got a call, and I was given an interview date. And here I am, sitting in a little Shizuoka, Japan, doing my English teaching job, and suddenly I've got a date on the calendar like 4 weeks, a month, maybe it was 6 weeks, 5 weeks out that I need to show up for an interview. So I went down real quick. I told my boss, I'm sorry, I need 48 hours. I think it was 72 hours, 3 days, I think. So I need 3 days off because it was like on a Tuesday or something like that, or a Wednesday. It was right middle week. And when it came, I took the bullet train up, got on, flew over to America, arrived that night, slept, got up early in the morning, went down, took the interview, and then flew out that same day back to Japan. And so it was literally, I flew all the way to America for less than 24 hours to be here, to do an interview, jet lagged. And then I was on the plane back, with no guarantee, no one paid for my anything. It was just a total gamble, Daddy needs a new pair of shoes. Just a whirlwind trip. Yeah, it really was. It really was. Well, guess what? I got the job. Yeah, I still can't believe it, that happened. And then everything changed, right? By the time I got back to Japan, I told my wife I got the job. And then it all cascaded from there. That was the whole thing of coming to America. I came over first, 14 months by myself. Well, my wife's green card went through. Then Yumiko and Emily came over. That's a huge gamble, amazing, nonetheless. Glad it paid off. it did pay off. Although, I gave up a lot as well, right? As I mentioned in a previous video, why I gave up on Japan. I had a good thing over there, and I do miss it. I do miss my friends. I do miss the life that I had. But frankly, it's like a sponge wrung dry, right? I just wasn't even going out in the mountains and doing my softypapa thing. I was kind of like, it just doesn't anymore. If I had a chance to go back, and who knows, maybe I will. I would see it with new eyes. I think I could approach it completely differently, right? Especially now, having gone through the going alone thing. I miss those walks out into the Japanese wilderness. Thank you, Richard. I do too. But it wouldn't be the same if I'd stayed. I don't imagine I would be doing it quite the same way. If I was still there doing that, it would be forced, contrived, and not genuine. So if I get a chance to go back, I would love to see what I could do then. Nikko Kaido Road. Isn't that one of the famous roads? Or you think not like the Tokaido, the Nikko Kaido, the other one? So I remember those videos of the place you lived at. I think you mentioned it was some kind of store. Yeah, the 7th Street Market. It was a store in the Prohibition area. It was an adobe actually from before the turn of the century. It was actually an adobe place, and I was the caretaker there. Real bad part of town, man. Really bad part of town. I hope no one takes this wrong, but this is the way that the woman that owned the place told me. She said, "You will be the only white boy in the community." She says, "Don't go out at night." I did. There was some scary stuff, but it was also a great adventure, great experience. So I flew over after I started. They were really nice. They gave me 2 months to get ready to come over, so I was able to give my work proper notice, get all kinds of stuff. It was a lot of work getting ready to come over, and I flew over, and how if you followed me long enough, how that started. I did the countdown, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, all the days until fly over to America, and that was the beginning of the end for me. That was the end of my old life. I spent literally 3 years buried, my nose to the grindstone, trying to create a life here, and not in contact with my Japan friends anymore, not in contact with anybody, just work, because I was, even though I had got that certification that was needed, and I had been able to bolster some skills, I wasn't ready for that job, and it was dumb luck that they kept me. I like to think, as I'm repeating from a previous video, that I got to the point that I made it worth their while, and I think that was the case, because about 4 years later, Renee says, "Hey, sorry late to join. Watched you for over a decade. Always wanted to catch a live stream, and here you are." Was it Reese? Sorry. I'm glad you're here. Otto says, "Japan always felt uncomfortable for me. I could never find a sense of belonging despite wanting to, but I look forward to going back on short or long visits under a different pretense." There's a whole other video in that concept. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, as foreigners, our place is really, and others would disagree with me. Our place is to be foreigners, to be outsiders, right? I've talked to, I'm getting into another video. I'll save that for something else. What do you mean by you made it worth their while? Oh, what I mean by that, Chico, is that I worked really hard to learn the job that I was hired for. And I like to think I became good at it. And they made an investment in taking a risk in hiring me. And for about the first 6 months, they scratched their head and said, "Why the hell did we hire this guy?" "So what city in America do you live?" "Well, I lived in Riverside, California, here by Los Angeles then. Now this is Irvine, California, but I work in Ventura, California." So what I mean was it took time, but eventually I like to think I became good at what I did. So about 4 years into it, I was initially hired as an IT Business Systems Analyst II. So there's 3 levels. There's 4 levels really. First is the entry level, 2 is kind of the journeyman, 3 is kind of the top level, and then there's a supervisory position after that. So I was a 2 for about 4 years. And after about 4 years, I applied for a 3 position, and I got it. So that's what I mean by the same organization eventually gave me a promotion. So I guess they wouldn't have promoted me if I hadn't shown that I could do it. Hello, One 3. So I worked in the 3 position, and little 5 says, "After I'm paying off my credit cards, I want to visit Japan, maybe visit Molly." Go visit him. Molly's a great guy, Molly Tomoko, definitely. And if Tomoko Des sees this, not Molly's Tomoko, but Victor's friend Tomoko, I felt bad, Tomoko, when I said in my other video, I would mention the people that I knew, and I mentioned Tomoko, and I said, not Victor's Tomoko, but Molly's Tomoko. I didn't mean it that way. Even though we've never met Tomoko, Victor's Tomoko, Tomoko Des, I would love to meet you, and I feel a kind of an affinity because we're part of that same community. But anyway, back to the topic. The subject of this video is what I do in America. So I was a Business Systems Analyst II for 4 years-ish. Then I became a 3, and I was a 3 for about a year and a half, something like that. So what do I do as a Business Systems Analyst? My job as an IT Business Systems Analyst is to work with the business. I worked for the Department of Public Social Services, so, welfare, child protective services, adult protective services, things like that. So in that capacity, I worked with the organization to analyze their business needs, understand their processes, see how I could help them refine those processes, and then find appropriate technologies to apply to make their business better. So my job was to help them find technology solutions and customize those solutions and deploy those solutions and support those solutions for public sector social services. Hello, Cronus, that's a long name, 249. You're a follower from the Philippines. Welcome, it's a pleasure to meet you. I would love to go to the Philippines sometimes. Requirements elicitation, exactly. I love your poetry videos. Thank you, Cronus. I thought those poetry videos would be a real snoozer for a lot of people. They're my favorite. They're probably my favorite thing I've ever made. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. I'm glad it touched somebody, or we have that connection. Exactly, elicitation of requirements. That's what I do. I spend a lot of time doing. But slowly, in that capacity, I began to teach myself project management, because what I found myself doing was running projects. I would do the requirements elicitation, develop a business case, come up with a project proposal or a project plan, and then work breakdown structure, and then lay out the project and then run the darn thing. But I didn't know how to run the project. I wasn't doing a very good job. So I began to learn project management, and that's how I wound up in the organization where I worked, creating a project management methodology that wound up getting adopted by the organization. So the organization that I worked for adopted the methodology as the standard for their organization, so, which made me feel good, right? So I was able to come up with a project management process that worked and was used by others, and I was charged with charged sounds bad. I was commissioned to help them hire other project managers and teach them what I developed, and help them spread the good news. 3 comments. One says, I need to learn managing projects. I'm just an artist, but it's important for doing commissions and projects like making games. Yes, definitely. All the world is a project. Pandora Kid 229 says, so you retired and decided to get back into the workforce. I was late into the live stream. No, I never retired. Although I am just 6 years away from retirement. I just went broke. That's all I did. And welcome. Otto says, interesting. I work solo, but I wish I had a methodology to help me focus my efforts better. Hey, I actually have my methodology that I created. And actually, a friend of mine helped me create it. Cindy, if you're out there. So Cindy and I created it, and it's called Q2PM. Simon, morning. Hi, Simon. Is that Simon? No, Simon's. Is that Simon from Simon's living room? Go to q2pm.com. That's the website that I created that explains the whole methodology. I have videos and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, q2pm.com. That's it. So, 4 years as a Business Systems Analyst II, 2-ish, a year and a half, 2-ish years as a Business Systems Analyst III. And then, though I'm currently in my bedroom. Oh, hey, it's you, Simon. Yeah, I sure do love your dedication with your videos. What are your plans once you retire? Will you ever go back to live in Japan? I'll answer that in a question, or maybe another video. So what happened was, the organization where I worked, which was a big organization, I worked for the County of Riverside. I worked for the information technology part of it, which is a ginormous organization. I think they have 4, 5, 600 employees, something like that. One of the executives left and became essentially the information technology officer, the head IT guy for the City of Ventura. And a signed copy email sent to Kurt, good night from Boston. Good night, Daniel. Great, you got it. I'll send you a copy. He went, and I really missed him because he was my boss's boss's boss. And he was a good guy, very good to us. Do you commute through heavy traffic? Not anymore. I do all my work from home. I rarely leave this community anymore. Retire. He's in his professional prime. Yeah, well, maybe. I feel like I'm kind of diminishing, but come hell or high water, age 62, I'm done. I'm hanging it all up. Yumiko is too. 6 years. So, this man that I really respect, that was my boss's boss's boss, didn't get to work with him too much, but when I did, I really respect him, I really like him, he's a good guy. He went off and became the head IT guy for the City of Ventura. And about 4 or 5 months after he had gone to take that new position, he reached out to me. And they had a project management position open, a project manager position open. Actually, the only one, right? It's a small city for the city. And he encouraged me to apply. And I did. And I got the job. And I went to work there as a project manager, my new position. So, in that capacity, I went from, it was a promotion, went from being a BSA II to a BSA III, and I skipped a step. From the next step up from there is usually supervisor, but I skipped up to the manager role. So I'm a project manager, the project manager, there's just one of me, for the city of, well, actually there's two, because we recently brought back someone to help out. So there's two of us now for the City of Ventura, and that's what I do now. And my days are spent running projects in earnest. That's all I do, and it's really challenging, really hard, and I kind of feel like I'm back where I was when I first came to America in so far as taking a job that was probably, you know, where I was lacking some skills, not the skills so much as the experience, right? Because I make mistakes now in my 50s that if I'd been doing this for 2 or 3 decades, I would have made these mistakes in my late 20s and early 30s. And they're embarrassing mistakes, and it's true. But I think that I'm doing a good job. I really do. We'll see when I finish my first big project, which is coming up in about 6 months. We'll see. Am I in danger? You bet. Yeah. I think they could let me go in a moment's notice. That's one other thing about my new position, is that I'm no longer safe like I was before with a union. I have no union to protect me, nor do I want a union to protect me. I would prefer to stay or go on my own merits, right? Do I have a backup plan? You bet, I do. I have a packed parachute, I call it. So if worse comes to worse and I fail at this, my family will be okay. That one experience of absolute failure taught me to be ready for it. I was watching Fiddler on the Roof last night, and there was that one scene in Pandora Kitty says, "With the universe, God, source, you are always safe." That's a nice sentiment. I was watching Fiddler on the Roof last night, and there's that one scene where the whole community is getting booted out of the town, and the one it was Tevye who said to Laser Wolf, or the group, something like that, you know, with all the movements that we, the Jews, have to do, maybe that's why we always wear our hats, right? So I'm ready to go. Not ready to go. I want to see this challenge through. I want to succeed at this project. I want to do a good job, and I want to deliver the city the results that they need. So mistakes are our greatest teacher. Yes, I agree, Mino. So I will do everything I can, for every last minute, to make this possible and successful. And I hope I succeed. And if I do succeed, then I'll look forward to new challenges. And if it goes south, then there's always Japan. Right? So have I given you a little bit of a hint of what my packed parachute is? I've worked 8 years as a city IT worker. You gotta really screw up to get fired. Yes, that's true, Patio, but I don't have a union to protect me. I'm an at-will employee. So You're right, but you're right. Kurt, there's an insect on your shirt. Is there? This thing right here? This is just my lapel mic. Hold on, guys. You can have a look the other way. And with that, I think I've told my story, right? That's what I do. I'm an IT guy. Although, we'll see. We'll see what's next. And I think I've said enough. So you agree to Albert Camus' absurd life philosophy. I've never heard of Albert Camus or his absurd life philosophy. But I'm pretty sure that my life philosophy has plenty of absurdity in it. Okay, well, with that, I'm going to sign off and get off my work clothes, go back and join my family. There's 25 of you watching at the same time. Thank you all. Wow, there's a lot of you. I want to thank you for joining me for another one of these lives. It means a lot to me. You know, it's kind of fun to discover this again. And if you have questions, let me know. I'll be happy to try and answer it. And with that, I'll say goodbye. Tomorrow, Emily's here to stay the night. Tomorrow, we're heading out to Julian up in the mountains for apple pie, apple cider, and I'm going to get some hard apple cider as well to take back and to enjoy after work. Good night, Chico. Good night, everybody. Simon, you take care. All of you out there. Jacob says, not a real insect. It's gone under your left hand collar. No, really? There's really is a bug? Is that the right? Is this the left? How's that? Do I look pop in the collar? Yeah. I missed a few comments. Hold on, let me go read those comments before we go. All right then, bye Kurt, have a great night. See ya. Thank you everybody. Take care. Remember, be safe, but not too safe.